Yeah, so it's my great privilege to be talking with someone that I somewhat idolise in the world of design thinking, workshopping, collaboration, the lovely Dee.
Hi Martin, it's really lovely to be here with you, and thank you for that glowing introduction.
So for those who don't know you, can you just give us a whistle-stop tour of how you came to be right here today?
Right here today, which is, should I say where we are here today?
Yeah, so we're at the AJSmart Workshopper Retreat. We're in a beautiful place in Italy, not too far from Turin, depending on how you'd like to say that. And we're actually by something quite symbolic. It's the green door, and this is inside the temple of the grounds. And the door's partially open because it's about bridging what is to what could be, going from the structured to the unstructured creative world. And so we're using that as a backdrop of the metaphor, and I'm interested to understand how you've perhaps been able to bridge what is unstructured, wild and free, and bringing to that also the structure to help guide people through a process of solving problems, coming up with solutions, being able to pitch ideas. Why is collaboration so important, and how do you create it?
Yeah, okay.
And how do you go about facilitating great collaboration?
And I love this other part that you mentioned before of like going from something more wild and free, which when you said that I was like, yeah, I love collaboration and I love creativity and I love ideas coming out of seemingly nowhere. And this really was the passion that did fuel me being here today and doing what I do, which I can say more about later as well. But I really love the way you described that. Going from something wild and free and unstructured creativity to going to being a very structured workshop facilitator that uses structured methods to help people collaborate and facilitate and get those ideas to come out of nowhere. I don't know. The last thing you asked was, the I don't know was, I don't know. I really would have to connect the dots with you maybe in this conversation to see how I went from that beginning passion, love of crazy creativity to super structured work as a facilitator, workshop facilitator. But then that last question was it what or why? Can you remember?
It's like, why is collaboration so important for an organisation? Like, one of the things I believe is that people assume collaboration just happens. Yeah. And yet I believe it's a fitness that you need to develop in order to be really good at it.
Yeah, okay, great, thank you. And I feel like collaboration is important for organizations. It's important for people in like relationships, friendships, anything where that you don't do completely alone. Collaboration is a skill that would change your life if you get good at it. But particularly for organizations, it's so important. It's amazing because we actually just heard another speaker here at the AJSmart Workshopper Retreat speak about this. Why is collaboration so important? It's important for organizations because they don't get as much done or as successfully without collaboration. That's maybe the simplest way that I can say why I like doing what I do or why I do what I do. People make more mistakes when they do things alone. They don't see their blind spots when they do things alone. They think that they have the right answer and then a year later figure out that they don't. And this all happens when you don't bring people together to analyse the problem that you need to solve or to try and come up with the creative ideas to solve it. Because anyone alone is going to miss something and spend way more time and way more money doing it than if you actually just brought people together to do it faster, better, more successfully as a group.
So a group could come together by themselves though. Why would I want to involve a facilitator like yourself to be able to work with that group? Why can't the group just come together? They're not alone anymore.
Yeah, I mean, they could, to be honest. If you've got a group of people that are equal in the way that they talk to each other and communicate with each other, that understand to give everyone a turn to speak or to feel like they're able, if everyone in that group felt like they're able to participate and feel creative enough and feel like they can contribute and also let others have space to contribute. So if that magical scenario would be the case, which to be honest, I know good people and I have friends who are like, oh, there's 3-4 of us, we need to make a decision together. What do you think? How about this? Oh, what about that? How do you feel? Compromise? Great. Sometimes this can happen if you know good people and you communicate well together, which is collaboration and communication go hand in hand. But that's not usually the case in in bigger groups like organisations and teams, and you don't control usually who needs to work on solving a problem together, who needs to work on a project together. So with me and a couple of friends, we could probably come together and find a good answer for something or make a decision together. But because people, some people speak more than others, other people find it nerve-wracking to speak up, they don't feel creative enough to be able to come up with options and ideas. That's what facilitation does.
Sounds like you're enabling people to have a voice. That without you being there, some people will speak louder than others, some will be silent, not everyone gets the same voice. So tell me about what are the key techniques that you would use, some of the practices that you're able to facilitate that would enable people to have that voice.
Yeah.
Let's say I was a board of directors. How would you enable each of us to have the voice that perhaps we don't have right now?
Yeah, I love that so much. Thank you for answering the question really well. Facilitation gives everyone in the room a voice in equal measure. That's perfect. Board of directors, that's a scary situation. For me, I've been facilitating for basically 10 years, really the last 5 super full-time professionally facilitating.
Yeah.
But the 5 before that as a UX designer, service designer, product designer, using facilitation to design, to get my work done. I've got 10 years experience and that's a scary situation, a group of board members. And so I would do a few things before to get them to really, I wouldn't just walk into a room and go, we're going to do a workshop, because people can not take it seriously, especially usually the more senior people are, and you get a room full of them. Like, no, this is serious, we need paperwork, we need documentation, we need someone to make a decision and take the lead, and that can be the case when you have really scary kind of room full of super senior people or big decision maker people. So I do a lot of warming up, but then say that's done, really, really simple methods. In the 10 years experience that I haven't, there's been small occasions where I'm like, wow, that's an awesome new tool, but mostly it's just going back to the fundamentals all the time, going back to basics, using the together alone principle that I think was created, that concept was made popular or created in the design sprint, working together alone, or it existed before, but that was named, I think, in the design sprint. I don't know if you know if that's true. Working together alone means that multiple people can work on something together and share ideas and insights together, but they get private, quiet, alone time, say 5 minutes on a timer, to sit and think, what are your ideas? Or whatever the exercise is, maybe it's like, what are the problems we need to solve? Everyone gets that time to sit and think alone and write and reflect and write more and really work through their own thoughts and then bring them back to the group to share.
So that's enabling people to have that voice, because although they're together in the same room, alone they get to voice their thoughts, and then they get to come back together, and if I'm not wrong, typically that's followed by voting. And so there's an opportunity for people to then validate ideas that may not be their own, but they think that's a really great idea that otherwise might not have ever been heard.
Yep, someone might have not had the guts to speak, not the guts, but felt comfortable and safe to speak up, depending on who else was in the room, or maybe just because they are nervous or an introvert with when it comes to having their voice heard. And giving them that alone time really just cuts out any of that. There's no difference between the people who like the sound of their own voice and the people who never speak up but have the best ideas. Everyone gets their thoughts out in the same level, in the same way. And then, yes, exactly, followed by voting, where we all see the same ideas. We don't know who they're from. We don't have these biases that we normally have. And we just get to read and think and look together after being alone, quiet thinking time. Together, vote and start narrowing down together what the most promising thoughts are, whether it's ideas or we're listing the number of problems we have to solve. We get to narrow those down using this basic fundamental method of putting votes on things so that we get a smaller picture and we're getting not consensus but more agreement and more seeing which way the whole group is thinking together.
Sounds like there's a lot of gain for those who may not be heard. What about the loss for those who are used to getting to dominate decision making and have their ideas heard? How do you overcome their objections to doing this together alone, the voting, the collaboration?
That's a really tough question. I don't know. Let me think about it for a second. How do we overcome the people who are used to having their voice heard and they're
losing power.
They are, well, okay, so
but they're gaining something as well.
you don't highlight that they're losing any power. So I would introduce these concepts that you've asked me about and we're talking about. I'd introduce them in a specific way to highlight the fact that we're going to do better work together and we're going to hear many more ideas than we would if we weren't having multiple people collaborating. Highlighting the better, like more ideas, better structured problem solving together, and not so you have to stop talking.
Yeah.
Like don't highlight that people don't get to talk as much, and do highlight that there's going to be better, more productive collaborative work. So hopefully you don't even come across the problem that someone says, hey, I don't get enough time to speak.
Yeah.
But I think it was a tough question because honestly I don't come across it that much. Does it for you?
It's just something that came to mind, but I wonder if actually the value proposition is people want to be heard and then they'll listen to you. And so by creating an opportunity where others actually experience being heard, in the past you might have had your voice and dominated, but maybe people didn't listen because they didn't feel heard. And now you're actually creating more impact for yourself because people feel heard as well as your idea. Yeah.
I think that those are the exact things I want to make clear to everyone and highlight, is that everyone's voice will get heard. And I think now, just after you speaking again, it does sometimes happen where you have a dominating voice in the room and they might not say, hey, that's not fair, I'm not getting to speak, but they might interrupt the collaboration that's supposed to be going on, and they just keep talking anyway, even if they haven't been invited to. And I think it is exactly based on what you said, that that need to speak more and more and more and more is coming from a place of not feeling heard, or not feeling like the things you have to say are important enough. And so you speak more and more and more and more and more. And there are other little tactics and techniques that I use that are just very, very small things, like just phrases that I say, or giving that person the ownership over continuing that conversation later. Because you don't want to disrupt the collaboration and let someone take over when everyone else we're all supposed to be having our voices heard equally. So I'll do little things like saying, thank you so much for saying that. Thank you so much for bringing up this important topic. Usually then followed by something like, I don't know if it's going to help us make the decision we need to make right now, or it might not be necessary for us to do that to finish this exercise. And then the ownership part, could you please make sure that we continue this conversation later? Sometimes have a physical place where they can, like a parking lot board, a place where they can write down, this is the conversation topic, and put it in there. And I love to not just get them to put it in there and then I have to deal with it later, but just say the words. Could you please remind me and make sure that we continue talking about this in the break or after the session or whenever it is? Or let's send me an email and we'll make sure we share this around the group, something like that, so that they have felt heard and they have that sense of confidence that what they said is important and they know that it's going to be spoken about because they're the one that has been given the responsibility to. So it's a bunch of simple little things that help completely avoid that situation.
This sounds like our dinner call, but just to wrap up what I've heard you say is, it's having all of those little tools in your toolbox enables you to come in as a facilitator to make the difference that a team, although they're together, they wouldn't be able to achieve by themselves. And that's the value of the workshopper, the facilitator, the collaboration coach, and that's why you need to become collaboration fit. Thanks very much. I've really enjoyed chatting with you again.
Me too, Martin. This is wonderful. We've got to go to our Italian dinner call now at our wonderful retreat. It's great to be with you all today, and let's do this again sometime.
Ciao.
Bye.